Right now, 20,000 legal complaints are made against children in Maryland every year, and many teens might receive probation or have their cases dropped, but hundreds of those teenagers wind up incarcerated. WMAR 2 News' Mark Roper is here in the studio with more on how the Department of Juvenile Services holds youth accountable for their actions. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Christian. You know, they say that they focus on how those kids should do things rather than not do things. And after talking with a few kids who are incarcerated, you could see how it's making a difference in their behavior. And we're keeping their identities anonymous. The specifics of their cases are confidential.
Every place has its ups and downs, you know, but at Victor Cullen, more ups than downs. We have a giant support system.
A lot of kids, I mean, they want to fight, they want to be violent, they want to break things. They're very destructive when things get bad. So teaching them not to make the situation worse, teaching them about how to repair what they've already made a mistake for and making it better instead of making it worse.
And Dr. Laura Estupin and Kane helps them work on more positive ways to communicate.
For some, yes, they're quite verbal and they're able to express that way, but not everyone can. So this is a different way for, say, a youth who's very talented in art, and he can express all of his history through that, or he can just express what he's feeling today.
Along with tapping into their creative side, positive reinforcement is used through the STAR Behavior Management Program.
Instead of telling youth what they can't do, instead of using that negative connotation of saying, no, don't do that, no, you can't do that, we tell the youth what we're looking for. So in the dining hall, we want you to stay seated. We want you to say thank you when you're presented your meal.
Guidelines and expectations to be met every day. They are assessed on how they solve problems in a mature and responsible manner, their ability to stay task-focused, act as a role model, respect themselves, others, the facility, and rules, along with taking responsibility for their actions.
Even when a youth may need to be held accountable, that they understand where we're coming from. We're not coming from a punitive point of view. We're coming from a treatment point of view. We're coming from, we need you to do A, B, and C so we can do X, Y, and Z to get you home.
In turn, they earn points on their behavior, which are tabulated into a daily percentage as staff track their progress from freshman to senior or honors level.
As they progress through the levels, we hope to see some changes in their behaviors. We don't expect a youth who's on freshman level to be acting the same way as a youth on senior honors.
If they don't get in line, they don't earn any points.
If they don't follow the directive, our discipline and our accountability is progressive. We would talk to them. We would try to find out, is there a reason? Sometimes they are just going to be resistant. That's where we have the point system.
Failure to earn enough points not only prevents them from moving on to the next level, but delays their completion of the program, which determines when they can go home. Recently released Lamar says his stay at Victor Cullen has changed his behavior for the better.
I just took this time just to sit back and reevaluate some things. A lot of things that need to be thought out, like the crowd that I was hanging around. People that I associated myself with, I had to change all that. Because if I wasn't, it wasn't going to be no better.
And Lamar is definitely one of the most inspiring young men we met. He told us he got his GED before getting placed at the Victor Cullen Youth Center. And it's just a new start of a new beginning for him as he now has his mind on college instead of the streets.
You know, it's just incredible, Mark, what a difference that can make for kids like Lamar and how different things can be if this works, you know. And so I guess the question a lot of people might have is, there are success stories coming out of the juvenile justice system in the state.
There are a lot of success stories. I mean, Lamar was one that we met, and he's very impressive meeting someone like that who had lived a life on the streets, several other kids who he'd met who had life on the streets selling drugs, getting involved in various crimes. You would talk to them and talk about their experiences at Victor Cullen. It was very inspiring to see how they were able to change these kids' lives, change their way of thinking to basically be held accountable for their actions, something that was really lacking in their lives. A lot of things that these kids had in common was an issue with their father. Not necessarily blaming the father in their lives, but all of the kids that we talked with had an issue with either an absent father, a father who was very strict, a poor relationship with a father, or a father who was taken away from the family. So it's very interesting to see how Victor Cullen could basically instill a change in these kids.
Mark Roper, thanks very much for coming in, talking about that important stories. We got more for you coming up as well.